All right, everybody, welcome back to another r slash off my chest. Today we're going to be reading through some r slash off my chest posts. We got some pretty crazy confessions today, and then we're going to be playing some Minecraft. I hope you kick back and enjoy. Please drop a like and subscribe. It definitely helps out the channel. I hope you have a great rest of your day and enjoy the content. So, the first post is from Hellwire, and it is titled. I figured we start off with a funny one. I ripped off the loudest fart in human history in front of the sweetest customer I had. About a month ago, I was working alone at the shop. No coworkers, no boss, nor a soul in sight. I'd fallen into my phone. I'm allowed. Scrolling with the kind of devotion you'd expect from a monk at prayer. Now, important detail. At the time, I was on a medication that had basically turned me into a biological weapon. This wasn't normal gas. It was like something inside me had died, found God, lost God again, and now was seeking revenge. So I felt the air moving down and towards the exit. I didn't even bother checking around me. I mean, why would I? I was alone, right? And I let loose the loudest, biggest, and most poisonous fart known to mankind. It's like a superpower, or super evil power. I sound like a bazooka snapping in half, or boyzuki. Interesting spelling there. I lifted my head up casually, like nothing happened. One of our regulars stood stiff as a candle, like she just watched someone get exercised right there by the register. She was trying so hard to play it cool, but her eyes were glistening like she just chopped 10 onions. I had tears too, half from the smell, half from raw, undiluted embarrassment. She bought something in a hurry, like she needed to escape before her skin started melting off and disappeared. She'd been a regular, and ever since that morning, I've never seen her again. I haven't told a soul until now. I'm so embarrassed. Wow, that's a shitty situation. But okay, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's corny. All right, moving on to my opinion, of course. My opinion. Wow, that's honestly impressive. I don't think I've ever had a fart that bad. My fiance or family might tell you otherwise, but I'm gonna go ahead and vouch that it's never been that bad. Um, maybe she went to the hospital. Maybe you should send her like a card or something. Maybe she's having some sort of fallout like Chernobyl and getting some sort of toxic toxic poison in her system. Who knows? All I'm saying is you might have a manslaughter charge of brewing. Now, hopefully you're off that medication. I hope you're no longer a human trombone. Um, so, yeah, that really sucks. That's also really hilarious. Not being me, of course. Let's go on to the comments. All right, comments start off with Alone Panic 855. Haha, around 2008, I painted the Museum of Modern Art of Amsterdam for a renovation. I had a list of work that I had to improve on the day of opening. I was alone in a small room, and this silent fart popped out, which was absolutely horrendous. And that moment, a delegation walked in with the mayor, etc. So embarrassing. Dang. Had the mayor up in there sniffing your farts? Ooh, yikes. Next is Largos. Really long comment here, guys, so I apologize. LOL. And finally, dumbass Hedratron. Okay, whatever that means. Pure poetry. That's it. Pretty lame comments here, other than the first one. I'll give it to you, the Lone Panic 855. That was good. Let's move on to the second story. I think this one's a bit more lighthearted as well. I can't remember. This is titled, I Don't Think I'll Ever Tell My Girlfriend What Happened Today, from Skate Witches. Skate Witches said, Today I came home from work and experienced something that has absolutely destroyed me emotionally. Oh no. I guess I'm not so lighthearted. I catch the bus home and got back around 3:40 p.m. My girlfriend had left for work at 11:40 a.m. I know the exact time because we have a camera at our front door, and she messaged me earlier saying she was running a bit late. As I was walking up our driveway, I noticed a possum staring at me while lying in the middle of it. I actually stopped and took a photo because my first thought was, oh my god, I have to let my girlfriend know we have a new friend. How nice. Then I noticed the flies around it. Ew. The possum wasn't just sitting there, it had been run over by a car. It would occasionally try to move, but could only slowly shuffle around in the same small spot. It couldn't move its back legs, and there was a visible dent running down the middle of its body. Oh no, that spine's broken. That was the moment of the reality of the situation really hit me, and the awful realization set in that it had almost certainly been run over when she left for work 4 hours earlier. I called wildlife rescue immediately while sitting in the driveway. I was on hold for about 20 minutes. By the time someone answered, I'd finally worked up the courage to go inside. They told me someone would come by in about 30 minutes. Before I went back outside, I turned off the camera's motion detection and deleted the recording from when I came home. In the recording and live feed, you could see the possum in the driveway. My girlfriend could have eventually seen the notifications or footage. I've realized I can't tell her what happened. Why? The thought of her finding out that she accidentally hit the possum would absolutely destroy her. She loves animals and is a very sensitive person. She would blame herself for something she never even knew happened. So now I'm carrying this weird guilt of having to keep it a secret and act like nothing happened when she gets home. I cried multiple times while waiting. The sweetest elderly volunteer couple arrived. The woman gently picked up the possum and held him like a baby, and when she confirmed it couldn't be saved, I started crying again. After they left, I completely lost it and sat in the house bawling my eyes out. The thing that has shocked me the most is that I haven't cried like this since my mother died 5 years ago. Wow. Maybe this is some pent-up grief that's coming out. I don't know. I know my girlfriend never would have done this intentionally and has no idea it even happened. But I can't stop thinking about that poor possum spending its final hours alone in our driveway, struggling to move while a busy street full of people pass by without noticing. I don't really know why I'm posting this. I just needed to tell someone. Kind of sad. I know my response at the end may not have sounded so genuine, but it was. That's very sad. The saddest part is it making you cry just as bad as you did when your mom died. That's unfortunate. Personally, I wouldn't have been this moved by something like this, but clearly, you knowing how it would affect your girlfriend and that, kind of the severity of them laying there in this state of, disarray and pain, I'm sure for hours, that would make anybody feel bad. If you have a heart, I'm sure that you would sit back and look and realize that that's agony and torture for most people. At least, taking, even though it was a possum, it still, can feel things. So that's really, really sad. I hope that if you do end up telling your girlfriend that she takes it well and she doesn't end up crying because, unfortunately it is a part of life. Sometimes you run over a rodent or a little animal. It's sad, but, no need to lose sleep over it or anything, in all honesty. Alrighty. Moving on to these comments. Insane seeing people crash out in this comment section over what appears to be a man with empathy from Niamora. They said also, by the way, opossums and possums are not rodents. Oh, and they are not common carriers of diseases. I did not know that. They are marsupials, and they are sentient, and one suffering for many hours over something as avoidable as a car running over them is something to be sad about. I 100% agree it's something that you can be sad about, and it's human and normal to feel sad about it. But I don't think it's something that should weigh on your soul. Clearly, it was an accident, so I don't think that harping on it for hours. Obviously, it's a sad thing, and it might have been the saddest part of your day or the saddest thing that has happened to you in a while, and that's fine. As you're saying that, it hasn't affected you to the point of emotion crying like that since your mom died. That's definitely a level of extremeness that I probably wouldn't be able to share, but it's a sad situation nonetheless. Death is sad all around. So moving on to the next one. Kate Kai 666, interesting name. My friend, I'll keep the secret with you, and I cried with you. Good soul. Maybe 666 is a good luck number for them. Who knows? And finally, next one says, hope everyone giving him shit keeps the same energy when it happens to your dog or cat, LOL. Not really anything to LOL about, but, hopefully their dog or cat never get run over and their spine broken and die for multiple hours or take multiple hours to reach its demise. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but I think there's a lot of insensitive people out there, and they think that just because it's a small animal, that it doesn't need the same respect or love as bigger or louder or more known animals, I guess you could say. But at the end of the day, you know, death, let alone an accidental death, and especially one that causes injury and long hours of agony, eventually resulting in death. Extremely sad situation to think about. But it's done and over with now, and we can grieve it and then move on, and that's kind of my ideology on that. So let's move on to this third story. This one's going to be a bit more interesting, I think. All right, hit the juicy alarm. This is a juicy one. Juicy alarm. Brr, brr. Juicy story coming in from Ashoy. My eating disorder has ruined the lives of all my loved ones. I almost burnt my house, and my mom wants no contact with me. And I think they meant burnt my house down. So this is a bit of a content warning. It has eating disorder. So if you have an eating disorder, this isn't sensitive for you. This is starts off with, "Hi everyone. I don't know what I'll achieve by doing this, but I really don't have anyone left to tell this to." That's sorry. That's sad. I was bullied at 11 years old for my body by my so-called friends, in quotations, which resulted in me developing an eating disorder. I was diagnosed with bulimia from age 12 to 14, from where I slowly transitioned to a full AN-R, which is still going. I don't know what that means exactly. At the peak of my illness, I used to fast for more than 10 days, surviving on electrolytes and supplements. Wow. I used to be a state-level skater, an amazing artist who also received 25 plus awards, for my singing, which was all ruined due to, well, you can guess. I was forced into recovery by family more than thrice and spent thousands of dollars in residential treatments and therapists, none of which worked. I only got worse day by day. I had a food hoarder's tendency, so I spent thousands of dollars buying food I never ate. I was also fined countless times for stealing protein bars and crisps from the stores. I had a period of time where I used to binge more than 10,000 calories at one sitting and then throw it all up. Whoa. My mom witnessed her baby doing this all with her own eyes. I was dying right in front of her. She did everything she could to save me, almost emptied her bank account, but her grown adult woman daughter to sleep singing a lullaby, traveled miles to find a good therapist. And what did her daughter do? Be ungrateful, lash out, and just mentally ill bitch. I was not less than a drug addict. I wanted to destroy myself, but not once did it cross my mind how much I was hurting my family. My dad divorced my mom and left us because he couldn't handle it anymore. I ruined my parents' love life. All this just made me want to get worse. I wanted to disappear from the face of earth. I tried so hard to recover, but I just never. It got to the point where I couldn't even speak. I weighed 70 pounds. Oh my goodness. And I still thought I'm not light enough. I had to get a feeding tube. I ruined my friend's life. They all tried helping me, but I just lashed out on them too. We were a group of 8 friends since middle school. 4 guys, 4 girls. We all broke up because of me. Some of them wanted to hang out with me and wanted me to get better, and some were over me. That's the reason, in the end, I had no one left, which is what should have happened long ago. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's what should have happened long ago. Let me clarify. I wonder how they all are now. They still check up on me, I can tell, but I told them not to talk to me for their own well-being. They also spent a fortune of their money combined to get medical stuff on my birthday. Haha. Medical stuff. Oh. God gave me amazing people, and I ruined every single one of them. I deserve this. I did this to myself, I don't know why my boyfriend is still with me. We've made it through thick and thin. I've told him countless times to leave me. I don't understand why he is ruining his life for me. He's a hiker and loves going on adventures, but I can't even get up from bed. Why is he wasting his youth to take care of me? I don't understand. I am very grateful for him, but I can't help but feel guilty. But he's all I have now. I almost burnt my house a week ago. I fainted and the gas stove was on. A glove caught on fire. Good thing the fire alarm woke me up and I switched off on time before everything caught on fire. This, I said, was the last straw for me. I determined by the end of 2026, I am going to gain weight and I'm going to recover. I'm going to apologize to everyone on this damn earth that I have ever hurt, and I'm going to prove to myself that I am capable to living this life. I don't know how it's going to go, but I have motivation for once in my life, and I have my boyfriend's support. I miss my mother. She is the best mother a daughter could ask for, but she hates me now. No, she doesn't hate me, but I think that's the word I'll use. It's good she doesn't want any contact with me now. She's had enough. I get it. But I still miss her tender hands over my head while I slept, and how she hugged me so tight during heat waves because I still felt cold. I am sorry, Mama. I couldn't be the daughter you wanted. I almost bankrupted you. I'm sorry. I hope one day we can talk again and I can repay you. I know I'll never be able to, but I hope I can. You're the best mama a girl could ask for. I'm sorry I turned out like this. All I hope is that I'm going to recover one day and have my friends and family with me again. I start treatment tomorrow. Keep me in your prayers. Wow. That's a very, very sad story. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice, but it definitely was on the verge of tearing up a time or two. Well, my take on the situation is definitely going to be first things first. I'm so sorry that you're going through this. That is, I mean, an immense thing. It's a psychological thing and many other things, and you've been going through it for so long. I can't imagine how hard of a challenge this will be for you. But the thing is, you sound so motivated that I know that you're going to get better, and you're going to recover, and you're going to look back and you're going to grow so much as a person. I can tell based off the vigor that you have writing this. I hope the wish for your boyfriend. I wish the best for your boyfriend. I mean, it seems like he's a very kind soul, and that you're definitely lucky to have him by your side. I think he's going to do some great things in making sure that you stay strict to your program, if you will. I don't know how that really works, but I'm trying to be supportive. Having my own daughter recently, my first child in general, this is definitely very sad to hear because I couldn't imagine, seeing your own child go through this. And that would, obviously it's heartbreaking for the parent for sure. But more than anything, I think that it's the most heartbreaking for you because it sounds like you want so bad to be different and do better, but it's obviously to a certain extent out of your control. But I think you're gonna do great things, and I think you're gonna get through the process, and this is all gonna be put behind you. All right, now moving on to these comments. Alchemist7 said, "You are the victim, not them." She definitely is a victim and is definitely going through some things, but I wouldn't say that. I mean, I don't know everything that she's done. She may be guilty in some aspects. That's absolutely possible. But she's definitely has a bit of a scapegoat, if you will, for her actions. I'm sure that reflecting and doing some looking back on those actions, she's clearly very solemn about it. So I think that you can be right and wrong at the same time. You can have your heart in the right place, or going through something, but lash out and you be wrong. So it seems like she's definitely in the path towards recovering and becoming a better version of herself. I started crying reading this as a recovered ED person and as a mama. There's nothing on earth you could do to make your mom stop loving you. Absolutely nothing. She just knows you won't get better if you have her as a crutch. I pray you get through recovery and look back on this dark time from a very bright future one day. You can do this. That's very, very sweet. And I totally agree with I Love Cake 888888888. Yes, that's their name. I think that kind of fitting. But what I was trying to say is that I think that her mom's. I think that I Love Cake 888888888 is right. That having her mom as a crutch, and it seems like her mom was definitely doing everything for you in times that you didn't have the strength or the ability to do them yourself. And so, you not being able to fall onto her as a crutch is definitely going to force you to evolve and adapt and make it happen at the end of the day. So I think I pray that, after you get through this and you're in that bright future that you and your mom are able to work on your relationship as well, and then move past this and onto, or back to rather, your amazing mother-daughter relationship that it seems you had before. And next up, last one we'll read is the TVDV. I've been on the other side of it as both the partner and the parent of someone with an eating disorder. It's not fun and it feels completely helpless. Despite that, I still love them both throughout the day or throughout, and only wanted to see them get better. I guess the night as well. Uh, you can't improve them, or you can't improve for them. That doesn't work. You have to get better for yourself because you deserve it. There's something that you'll need to eventually learn despite feeling it's not true. I've seen rehab and recovery work, so as long as you want to get better, you can. That doesn't mean you won't struggle and have relapses, but you can do it. That's absolutely it at the end of the day. It's your willpower to want to get better, and that's why I was saying that. It sounds like she has so much vigor towards wanting to get better and be different and not continue to struggle like this, that I have confidence she will be the best version of herself before we know it. Moving on to the fourth. Stay tuned. Alrighty. So our fourth story here comes from Perfect Comfort 3943. It's titled, "My husband got shot through our bedroom wall, and I feel like I can't have a reaction to it. This has got to be good." So, my husband got shot through our bedroom wall, and I feel like I can't have a reaction to it. Okay. My 23 husband was my 23 ENBY husband, 23M, I'm guessing is a 23-year-old male, was shot in his left knee by a stray bullet while we were in our bed on June 15th around noon. Damn, that's terrible. Trying to relax and you get shot. We live in an apartment building, and the shot came from the hallway into our apartment. He had to have emergency surgery that involved him losing 80% of his cartilage in that joint, losing a moderate-sized chunk of his femur, and a screw being placed in his femur to hold it together. He's disabled/chronically ill, and the gunshot wound is in his quote-unquote good leg. The other leg is heavily affected by his genetic condition, and both kneecaps were already prone to slipping out of place. Man, that really sucks. I'm really struggling to feel anything but simmering anger at the injustice of the situation, as the gun owner is still unknown and cold logic. And okay, so no one knows the reason. It should be known extremely clearly, I love my husband dearly. These lack of feelings are not because I don't care for him or wish him ill or resent him in any way. I actually have been the butt of my family's jokes that I'd be the last to get married because of my quote-unquote high standards. My husband blew right past those standards, even higher than I set, which is why we are married young, and the Midwest culture, LOL. So I just don't understand why I'm feeling this way. I don't feel a need to cry or act scared of our bedroom. I'm barely upset by the stress of our schedules being completely changed for the hospital stay and new care level needed. He has been medically complex for our entire relationship, and I have seamlessly blended the roles of partner and caregiver in a way that we're both comfortable and happy with. So why is this different? He has endured medical trauma before that we navigated through together, so it isn't as though this level of distress is necessarily new. But I don't know. I think part of it he has never been like injured. It has always been chronic illness and rare diseases, symptom stuff. Okay, I think they're trying to say that it's never been from like an injury from someone else. It's always been like, a genetic predisposition. So all in all, I guess I just feel like a bad spouse for not being able to fully emotionally present how I'm supposed to be. Obviously, I am actively present for him and his emotions, his needs, his PTSD reactions, and his newly expanded physical needs. Completely non-weight bearing for a month, do not bend knee for a month, etc. But every time he tries to check in on me, all I really have in response is, I'm fine, we need to do X, Y, and Z. I mean, sounds like he's checking on you, but you're not ready to talk about it, maybe. I know I'm stressing him out by not having a reaction like he feels. I may be hiding my feelings to spare his, or that the other shoe is going to drop any day, and it might. But as of right now, I'm either so angry I can't breathe, or numb to everything but the rational step by step of our full schedule. I feel like a shell of a person trying to play pretend while everyone around me is reacting appropriately. And with the correct feelings and self regulation, I'm just off. I don't know. If anyone has ever experienced something similar, an example, gun violence and little to no reaction, I'd love to hear your side. I just feel like a bad spouse and that I'm barely a person. Um, Update. So an insane amount of people have participated in this post, and it's greatly appreciated, but low-key overwhelming too, lol. I'm sure, having so many people, it's a hot story. Has 1.7 thousand upvotes. That being said, I wanted to give a closing piece to this since my initial post was a bit rambling. My husband and I have been and continue to have conversations about the situation, his feelings, my lack of feelings, etc. What I was struggling to articulate and explain was the guilt portion of it. I feel guilty, in parentheses, and like a bad spouse, for not being more emotional about this horrible thing that happened to the love of my life. And this kind of going to just be for right now. We really appreciate everyone's perspective and words of sympathy/encouragement regarding this absolutely ridiculous situation. We are involved in the active investigation to this, and while we have strong suspicions of who is involved, we do not want to make it clear that if it is the minor we suspect, and that only adds to the tragedy of the event. Oh, it might be an underage person. We are not villainizing the shooter for wanting answers and justice for something that has completely changed our lives and his health path. So yeah, thank you all for offering information, words of advice, and general sympathy for this situation. Interesting. I gotta say, that's probably one of the craziest stories I've read so far on here. Just getting shot through your door randomly in the afternoon. I mean, I was expecting you to say it was like 7 or 8 p.m. I don't know why, but I was just thinking it was going to be in the evening or later in the night. But this is definitely wild. One, I hope that your husband's recovering well. Obviously, he had some other predispositions that were affecting him, but I know this didn't make it any better. So I hope that everything is in the recovery process and that he's doing well as he can, at least. More importantly, I know this is more about you. Sometimes things like that, like, the actual feelings and anxiety or stress or whatever you may feel or fear, or just even just solemnness, sadness, could hit you way, way later. Me personally, like, I have had a family member that died to gun violence, and of course my initial reaction was like, oh wow, that's, like, obviously I'm sad. But then for a while, like, I didn't really, feel anything for the situation. And, then obviously one day I just, like, pull into my driveway and just tears start flooding. And that's just how it is for some people. Everyone handles grief differently and things like that. And so it sounds like it was an accident. At least it doesn't sound like it's something malicious. But I hope that whatever parties are involved, recover as quick as possible, and more importantly, doesn't happen again. Other than that, I really would say that's really just a really crappy situation, and that as a partner, you not feeling anything, you shouldn't feel guilty. You're clearly doing the right thing to take care of your partner and be the best person that you can be. Just give it time. As you said, I mean, this was posted 7 days ago, so I think that it's going to take a lot longer than 15 days, a week, 2 weeks. It could be a multi-year process even. Anyway, I wish you the best. Perfect Comfort 3943. Let's move on to these comments. This story was actually so hot that they had to stop people commenting so that they could filter it a bit better so that the poster didn't get overwhelmed. I think they got 150 comments in within a few hours. First commenter is from Cyber Bay. Shock, denial, and anger are all valid emotional responses. Personally, anger drowns out all of my emotions away, and that's all I will feel while I'm in that stage. You're emotionally self-aware enough to know how to cope with the anger, and not let it affect you how you treat others and how you treat others. It could be that you're so angry that your body is desensitizing you to the situation to protect you, and that's where that numb feeling comes from. Our brain's number one goal is survival, and if it feels like you need to flip the switch to protect you, you just go numb. It's a trauma response. Not everyone knows this or can recognize when this is happening. You and your partner are strong and resilient. He is worried about you. Talk to him. He is still your husband. Tell him how angry you are and get some makeshift cuddles out of it. You're doing great, sweetie. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Yeah, I'm sure cuddling isn't the most ideal. But I think Cyberbay is 100% right. These are all normal emotions and feelings that any normal human would feel. Amber Sky 09 says, I think you're probably in shock. No one expects their spouse to be shot while laying in bed, and you do have emotion to it because you're angry. And you have every right to be. Anger can drown out everything. Absolutely. I think it's kind of a bit more of an emphasis on just one emotion kind of taking over the feeling or the intensity of your other emotions that you may be feeling. And as I was saying, this could still come later on. It doesn't mean you're weird or abnormal or a bad partner. But I agree that you totally should open up to your spouse more, because it seems he really wants to talk to you and is really cares and may be worried about you. At the end of the day, that is still your husband. You don't need to shut him out just because you're worried about the situation. I think expressing your anger and your heartache even could be really healthy for y'all, and it could even make you closer. Finally, okay, Palpitation 2798 says, sounds like you are in survival mode. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. It sounds like her brain still may not be sure if she's safe, especially it is in your home. So you go back to that environment, I would assume, every day, and your brain is now associated with that, with the potential to be shot. So it's kind of a hard thing to shut off. As I was saying, it could be, worst case scenario, multi-year process. Well, next story. Alrighty, y'all. We're a little over halfway through the video. We're a little over halfway through our story, so it's matching up pretty well. I feel like a fool. I stayed too long in a relationship and got used. This is from the good Dr. Goose. Dr. Goose. Oh no. My ex-fiancée, 30, female, and I, male, 33, met when I was 29. She was 26. We were together for about 3.5 years and got engaged for 1.5 years. We broke off our engagement about a month ago. I loved her very much and still do, but in trying to plan our wedding and life, it came clearer and clearer that we weren't as compatible as we thought, and we actually couldn't overlook certain differences. And things were deteriorating for a while. It was actually a beautiful, amicable breakup to begin with. I don't hate you, you don't hate me, but we aren't good for each other. We both have lots of work to do. I mean, that sounds very mature, kind of thing. We hugged, we cried. It was kind of perfect. As perfect as a breakup can be, I guess. But as time passes and certain things come to light, it's starting to look and feel different to me. It wasn't just two people who couldn't reconcile certain core beliefs. I let myself get used too. Here's why. I don't know. Deep reflection. The relationship. We both non-traditional college students when we met. She had about 1.5 years left, and I had almost 3 left. About a year into and that's totally not what they meant to say. About 1.5 years into our relationship, her graduation is rolling around. I ask her if she is going to start looking for work, and she says no. She wants to have a relaxing last term. I didn't like that, but okay. She graduates, and I ask her what she's going to look for, and she says, oh, she doesn't know. She's going to give it a few months, and first she's going to apply for food stamps. I'm flabbergasted. Try to talk to her and explain that we really don't need food stamps. We need income. She'll need to get a job and pay her student loans. Big fight. I mean, it's that's what everybody does, is it not? I should have ended it there. 5 months later, she finds a part-time work from home doing call sales. I'm stoked for her. We set up an area for her to work. All good. Things are going well, and I propose. She says yes. Yay! But she still isn't really contributing, not herself. She'd get groceries with food stamps, but wouldn't really get anything else for the house. The big thing was whenever I bring up planning to tackle her student loan debt, it's she is a complete shutdown and is fully resistant to any plan. I'm an accounting major and showed her the implications of paying versus not paying even during the grace period. She's not having it. I offered to help pay off the loans with her, still won't. Every few months, I would try and bring it up until over a year later when I finally had enough. Last October, I wrote her a letter explaining why, even though I loved her with all my heart, this was something that I once with my final doesn't make any sense. That I once my financial assistance. I think they're trying to say clearly a big stutter here. Make fun of me in the comments. That I once my financial assistance runs out with school, I really will not be able to pay for everything if you aren't contributing. And if you aren't willing to make payments on your student loans, even with my help, I can't go forward with the marriage. She agrees and says she'll step up, and we put together a bit of a plan. Christmas Eve, she drops a bomb on me, tells me she's been hiding an addiction to kratom from me and wants to sober up. Wow, that's where all that sales money's going. I knew she took this stuff from time to time, but didn't really understand what it was or how much she had been taking. Looking into it and realizing this was where all her money was going and why she wasn't helping out, I was shocked, hurt, angry, but this was the woman I love. I asked her to marry me. Of course I'm going to be supportive. I told her this was the priority, focus on getting sober. This was obviously necessary before trying to tackle her debt or contribute more. I was about to start a promising tax internship with room to grow and could make it work temporarily. Obviously, this strain of the relationships even further and ultimately is bringing it to its breaking point. I do my best to juggle school, a stressful new job doing taxes, and being there for my fiance going through withdrawals and learning to live sober. So it sounds like he went sober too. What a nice guy. But it's hard. I'm exhausted and was already tired of how dependent she was on me. I wait, trying only to show love and support for her sobriety. About 5 months later, I ask if enough time has passed that she feels good enough to think about working again. This ends with another big fight, and a few weeks later we have another little fight. I wonder what the big fight, little fight scale is. What is the indicator of each? When I get home from work, she has her bag packed. She says she's going to stay with her parents for a little bit to think things over, and she's not sure she can continue. A week later, which was the Saturday before my last finals week, we agree we shouldn't stay together. Dang, right before finals, it's crazy. After the breakup. Some things after the breakup were just weird and not okay. When I called my childhood friend from out of state that she met once, maybe twice, to talk about it, he already knew, because she had told him before we actually broke up. What? During that first week she was at her parents', we agreed that she should give me finals week to focus, and then she'd come get her things. The next time I see her, a little over a week later, and she's grabbing only a few of her things, she tells me her brother, who owns a business, just gave her a salaried position in his company, which is fantastic for her, but frustrating given how long I pushed for her to find work and be more productive. Yeah, that'd be really annoying. She also mentions that her parents are going to be buying her a new car because her old car was pretty beat up. She let the registration expire and just didn't deal with it. Then, as she's leaving, she turns around and blurts out, "And full disclosure, I think your friend blank liked me on a dating app, but I didn't like him back. It wasn't wrong hair color and age. It wasn't wrong hair color and age. Oh, okay, so clearly not his friend. That's good. It hurt a bit to be told to my face just over a week after we ended our engagement, and not my place anymore, right? Just please get your things now," she tells me. She can't this weekend because she's, quote unquote, going to the lake this weekend with ... a friend. Drama. Which I know can't be true because for 3 years she complained about not having friends in the area. So I'm packing up as much of her stuff over the weekend, wanting to speed this process up as much as I can stomach, and he's on an overnight lake date. But she's on an overnight lake date 2 weeks after we ended our engagement. We broke up. She can do what she wants, but this really hurts. We agree she'll come get her things on Wednesday because it's one of my days off. Tuesday night, while packing up more of her More of her, I see something I really wish I hadn't. I lost my phone somewhere around the house unpacking, and I can't find it. After searching for a long time, I grabbed my laptop to find my iPhone. When I open it up um, to my ex's location, because we're still sharing our locations with each other, she's at someone else's house, not her parents at midnight. Again, we broke up. She can do whatever she wants, but now my whole world is crumbling. It's one thing to be casually lied to that she's going to the lake with a friend and secretly know that it's a date. It's another to see that right now, while you're packing up her things for her because she isn't doing it, she's fucking someone else. Oh, pardon my French. Um, she's allowed to do that she wants, but seeing that broke me. I gave 3.5 years giving everything I could, and she just moved out immediately, or moved on immediately, rather. Couldn't even wait long enough to finish getting her foot fully out the door. She and her dad end up coming a little later in the week to finish getting the last of her things, so it finally wrapped up on this last Saturday, which was the day we had chosen for our wedding. Ooh. We talked one last time. She told me that she didn't hate me. I was good to her. I helped her get sober, and that was a gift she'll always cherish. When I said I'm happy for you and that you've moved on, but it hurts that I saw you, what I saw, and that it was so soon. I'm not ready to move on like that yet, she says. She hasn't really moved on, and, in quotations, they don't mean anything. Then, right before writing this, I see the post she made about her 6-month sobriety milestone, because I followed the subreddit to learn about her addiction and support her. The day before she got all of her things, in this post, she said she's been dating really fun people, and that getting sober was what gave her the strength to make these life changes. Mm. And all I think, and all healthy, I think. I'm glad that she's reconnecting with more family, old friends, and has a cushy salary job, and endearing. Really fun people, all within 3 weeks. Really fun people's in quotations, by the way. But I'm just left here, emotionally spent, destroyed, and wrung out. I'm not sleeping. I'm not eating. I've lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. I have no interest. Crazy cut, by the way. I have no interest in running the dating gambit again right now. My savings are almost entirely gone. I don't have any family in the area. My performance at work is suffering because my mental health is shot. I feel like I just chewed up and spit it out. I feel just chewed up and spit out. I gave everything I had. Ending it was absolutely the right decision, but I'm really messed up by all of this. 3 weeks after we break up, her family gives her a new car, new job, and, in quotation, dating really fun people. And I'm trying to pick up the pieces, get my finances back in order, and get my health back. Wow, wow, wow. Well, that was definitely much longer of a story than I thought it was going to be. First things first, definitely seems like y'all were not meant to be. Obviously, that's from a very short perspective. It was a total of, 3.5 years? Yeah, 3.5 years. So, I mean, you seem like a really good guy. Obviously, helping her get sober and not leaving her side when she was at her lowest point is respectable in any aspect. However, it seems like you should have put your foot down or said something sooner because, as you said, whenever she was just right out of college and was like, no, I'm not going to get a job, I'm just going to apply for food stamps. Y'all clearly had a pretty big disconnect there, and I think I agree with you that that's the time that you should have left. Now, that's neither here nor there. I wish it didn't get as far as planning a whole wedding and everything. That's definitely sucks, and it's clear that it's caused you more heartbreak the longer it took, as it would anybody. But I think you're just better without her, in all honesty. It sounds like she, definitely gets lucky because the one thing that you're asking her to do, she just gets given to her, and along with many other things, like a new car. That's awesome. Wish I was just given a new car after any bad thing in my life happened. But I think it's definitely going to take a while for you to get over this. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a quick process, to say the least. But in the end, you're going to have a better, more fulfilling life, and you're going to be better as an individual. Most importantly, you're going to be happier. There's no way that you're not. This is definitely going to really suck for a while. But once you're able to pick up the pieces, wipe the tears, and get back to it, not necessarily just dating, but get back to life in general, you're gonna see life much better than it was before, and I'm sure that you're gonna find the true love of your life that is the most compatible with you. Let's go on to these comments. Man, oh man, first comment's almost as long as the frickin' story itself. So honestly, I think you need to try and look at this like the best possible outcome, because you don't have to put up with her in your life anymore. And that is a huge weight off your shoulders. Exactly. I think you need to take time and come to terms with everything and let yourself move on. But when you're ready, you need to look back and realize how many times you should have left and how much you put up with for no benefit. Absolutely. Clearly was using you. Yes, you stayed too long, but you didn't waste your time, because you now know what to avoid in a partner. And when you're ready to date again, this experience will have taught you a lot about what to look out for, and when you shouldn't walk away, because when you should walk away, because you've got the experience now to know what to avoid. Absolutely. Definitely. I mean, if it became a trend and you did this in your next relationship, clearly you're the problem. I think you need to be the one to completely cut contact and don't have anything to do with her anymore. If she reaches out, block her and don't give her any more of your life, because you deserve to move past this. Absolutely. Don't be afraid to cut someone off, man. You gotta stand up for yourself. You're only a fool if you don't learn from anything from this, or you see something like this in a new relationship but keep going regardless. Yeah, if you just ignore the red flags, then it's your own fault. You had an incredibly unhealthy relationship with an incredibly unhealthy person, and you should only date when you are able to understand just how unhealthy things were, because until then, you'll see unhealthy relationships as fine, because this one was so bad it's not even close. But you need to realize just how unhealthy and avoid. You need to realize just how unhealthy and avoid it all, because you deserve a good relationship, and you shouldn't think anything like this or any one of these things is acceptable for a relationship. We're really drawn out there. But yeah, there's more. It's not finished. Just focus on the fact that now it's over and you've got her out of your life, and take as much time as you need to move on, because you need to be completely past this before you date again. Make sure you feel like you're not affected by this and letting it impact your dating life. Maybe this person's speaking from experience. What I mean is, I once went out with a woman who would start arguments knowing I didn't like arguing, so I would apologize to end it, and she would make me make it up to her, which basically was me being an errand boy. Eventually, I lost any interest in her because of this and got out of there. Because, though I thought it was fine to date, but I ruined the next one because I was so defensive and ready to argue over anything. My new girlfriend just got sick of it and ended it. I should have waited until I wasn't taking any baggage over with me, and you need to do the same. Until you can look at the other relationship and all of it makes sense, it makes you feel like you learned a lot, you shouldn't think you should date. If you think about it and feel used or annoyed or embarrassed, you'll just take those things to the next relationship, and like me, you'll overcompensate, try not to feel that way, and that's not healthy. You can absolutely go on a few dates, but you shouldn't think a relationship is healthy until you can truly be okay with the past, and you just think of it as what you should avoid. I mean, yeah, obviously pattern recognition is going to be your friend in this aspect. You see a similarly developing issue, and you just say, oh, I've seen this before. I'm going to go ahead and exit stage left here. I don't want any problems. But if you see the same problems and then you continually do the same thing, it's only you that is the issue here. I mean, obviously the person is the issue, but you are the issue because you're not recognizing the problem and you're just causing your own self to be hurt. So, no effort given. Definitely gave a lot of effort in that one. And next up is Warlord Nipple. Don't worry, my man. This is a pain you did not need. She's going to relapse and will be someone else's problem then. You need a lot of willpower to not relapse, and it sounds like she has none. Wow. I don't know that both of them had addictions. I know he said he's living a sober life, but I think he was just doing that as more of a companion thing. I hope she doesn't relapse. I would never wish that on somebody. I don't know how addictive kratom can be, but evidently it's a problem for some people. That's not necessarily the way I'd put it, but thanks for the support, Warlord Nipple. Um, and then Just Communication 87 says, I don't think you realize she has become her family's weight now. She is still relying on people to take care of her. Her brother got her a job. Her parents are buying her a car. She doesn't know how to be independent and is using her family to benefit her now. You need to realize the weight has been lifted off of you. This is your chance to enjoy being single, enjoy making your own money, and spending it on yourself. Your chance to rebuild your savings. If you let her impact your job, your financial stability, that isn't her fault. She's no longer in the picture of your life. That is your fault. That this is your chance to have a great life that you should have had without her. You have shown yourself that you can survive the worst, her. You have shown yourself you are strong. You took on a lot of someone else's burden and came out stronger. You have shown yourself that you have courage. You made the decision to break away from a toxic person. You are here. You are so much better than you give yourself credit for. One thing is certain, she still knows how to manipulate you. She still says things she knows get under your skin. This is one relationship that should remain in the past. There is no room for, in quotations, friendship, unless you want to continue to torture yourself. Lastly, the fact that you are seeing her sharing social media posts, living her quote-unquote best life, can also give the perception that you either wanted her to fail without you, or you are stalking her. I'm shooting for the latter. Block her social media accounts, block her number, and leave no room for her to reach out to you. She was meant to be one of the life lessons, nothing more. I absolutely agree with that guy or girl. Just Communication 87 absolutely is right. Cut all contact. No contact with this lady. She is a terrible, evil human being and is just going to be a leech if you let her. Say goodbye, buy your life, good night. Alrighty, this is from Redditor necessary_fortune866. Their post is titled, I'm about to break up with my fiance due to his extremely extroverted behavior. I've been with my fiance for 3.5 years. We got engaged after 1 year of dating and have been living together for about 2 years now. Interesting. Sounds very, very similar numbers to the last story. On our first dates, I could see how much he loved talking to people. I mean random people. We would be somewhere like in a shopping mall, and he would start talking to a random person about anything. Or we'd be in a restaurant having dinner, and he would start talking to the people sitting at the table next to us. Now, I'm not a fan of talking to strangers, so I didn't really like this behavior of his, but I sometimes joined the conversation a bit or stayed on my phone waiting for it to end. The problem is that he started doing it more and more. Sometimes I could see the person he was talking to trying to end the conversation, but he kept on talking. It started feeling a bit off. One day, we had a really bad situation with some girls in a restaurant. He started talking to them. They were sitting at the table next to us, and they started saying some very embarrassing and awkward things to us. We just wanted to be left alone at that point, but they wouldn't stop talking. Later that day, I finally gathered the courage to tell him that I didn't really like this talkative behavior, especially because sometimes it made me feel completely put aside and ignored while he was talking to a total stranger. He apologized, but his behavior didn't really change. Then I started realizing a few things. Every time we were in public, he wasn't fully paying attention to me. He was always looking around trying to find someone to start a conversation with. At first, I thought he was just extroverted, but there was always this voice in my head telling me that something's very wrong with his behavior. We traveled abroad for my birthday. We were at this party drinking and having fun. Out of the blue, he started talking to this guy and completely forgot about me for about 10 minutes. When we went home, I talked to him about it, and we had a really bad argument. That was the first time I thought about breaking up with him because of that. But in the end, we talked, and he apologized and said he was going to start controlling himself more. His behavior changed for the first few weeks, but then he started talking to random people again. The only difference was that he started apologizing to me right after talking to a stranger. About 3 weeks ago, we went to a restaurant, and right before finding a table to sit at, he started talking to this guy who was waiting for a takeaway. I was just so tired of it by then, and so I found a table for myself, and sat there and waited for him to finish talking. After some minutes, he came to our table and apologized for talking to that guy, but I didn't even say anything. I was just like, what's the point? The next day, I arrived home from work exhausted and just wanted some sleep. B insisted we should check out this apartment. We were looking for places to buy, and told me it was going to be quick. I ended up going, and after the inspection, he was driving us home and saw his friend's car and started honking and stopped the car. I was boiling at the moment when he left the car to talk to the guy for about 10 minutes. While I was there for in the car waiting, he knew I was tired after working for 10 hours, but he still couldn't resist talking to this person. Again, he came back to the car, apologetic, and I just said I was not in the mood for his apologies and just wanted to go home to sleep. He got quiet and drove home. We talked about it later and he apologized again. The thing is, he apologizes but doesn't stop. And it hurts me so much because that really makes me feel like literally any person is more interesting than me in his eyes. The last straw was when we were in the supermarket and he started talking to these guys. One more time I was there, put aside on my phone, waiting for him to finish this conversation. At one point he mentioned to the guy something along the lines of him being the girl's chosen one, in quotations. I'm not going to say exactly what he said because that would break his anonymity. I was there next to him, hearing him say something like that to a bunch of guys he had just met. In that moment, something snapped in me. Something made me see that I had indeed become invisible to him. When he was talking to random people, something made me see that for him, strangers' attention was more important than my attention. I didn't say anything in that moment, but I told him once we were home, and he was furious, saying he was tired of me controlling him. I never meant to control him. I just expected more from him as my partner. More respect, more attention. Now we are sleeping in separate bedrooms, and I'm trying to find another place to go. He's being extremely apologetic again, but I'm just tired of that. Just tired of forgiving him so that he can do it all over again. I really think I deserve something better. Yeah, that's something. No, I've never heard of it being, extroverted to this extent, just being friendly, like being a problem. That definitely would be annoying though, especially like, at times that, you're having alone time or you're doing something intimate or just, want to enjoy just the company of your partner. I would absolutely understand why this would be annoying. It seems that he doesn't really care. He's just apologizing because he thinks you want to hear an apology. At least that's what I'm perceiving the situation to be. I don't think that he would do it so frequently if he truly was sorry. And that the girl's chosen one, it just sounds like he's kind of derogatory too, in that he's not meeting up with these people for good, conversations. It seems like a lot of it is derogatory and maybe even disrespectful to you. Who knows what they're talking about for the conversations you don't hear. At the end of the day, it seems like maybe y'all aren't as compatible, being so extreme, you being more introverted and him being a lot more extroverted. Now, whatever you do with that information, leave him, don't leave him. I don't think that he's going to change, at least anytime soon, based off of the many weeks of conversations and maybe even months, and nothing has changed or improved. It's just gotten worse and then being immediately apologized for it. But he's aware of what he's doing. I mean, he's making the conscious decision to go over and talk to this individual or do these things. So it's not something that he just does out of habit, I feel. I think he, especially after apologizing for it, is definitely doing it intentionally. Moving on to these comments. First one says, some people are just this way. I had an ex like this. We broke up, but not because of this. Part of it, his personality, I actually found it charming, as I'm quite extrovert too, just not on the same level. I also have an uncle who is like this. It's just a matter of compatibility. That's what I'm saying. It just seems like you're both two extremes, two opposites of the same extreme. You know what I mean? One loving talking to each and every individual, and the other not wanting to talk to anybody. If he demanded you talk to strangers more and be a bit more outgoing, despite you hating doing that, how would you feel? It's the same for him trying to suppress this part of the time. I do believe splitting up would be the right thing. You can't change him, and he won't change. Go your separate ways, and hopefully you'll both come across someone who's more compatible with. I mean, you just need to find yourself a little bookworm that doesn't want to talk to anybody and just wants to sit there and look at each other maybe or whisper. I don't know. But it definitely seems like you're just not compatible. Kind of like the last situation we just read. And then next is, just reading about it was exhausting. You have enough reasons to break up. Stop listening to his constant apologies and end the relationship. Apologies are for apologizing and not making the same mistake again. And he apologizes so you don't get mad at him, but he keeps doing the same thing. Stop putting up with him. He's just apologizing because he thinks that's what you want to hear. He doesn't really care. Finally, I dated a guy like this for a few months last year before I became sick of it. For context, I'm also a very extroverted person, but still prioritize my partner or friend/family when I'm out in public. The last straw for me was when we were at a festival together. I'd injured myself and could barely walk out. Instead of helping me, he went out. He went to every single camp around us to make friends. I dumped him as soon as we got back. I mean, that, especially with like having these long conversations and doing it so continuously, I don't think that he really cares about that. It definitely seems that y'all are not it for each other. Maybe you can find like an English teacher or something. Who knows? Have a good one. I hope y'all enjoyed. That was it for today. We are going to leave it off here. There's a few more minutes of gameplay that y'all can enjoy, but I hope y'all really, really like these stories. And if you have any comments, anything that you'd like to hear, or maybe even a different game you'd like to see, leave it in the comments. And please do like, share, comment, subscribe, all the good things. Helps out the channel and it lets me do these more for you. I believe I'm going to be doing my best to upload 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. So look out for that. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and maybe you got some good sleep if you did use this for sleep.